cartridges.
So
It was the cartridges.
So
the whole red one.
Paint.
Yes.
So paint or something.
Correct.
And what did it do?
If I drink, doesn't go down range.
You guys respectfully, Alan was answering her question. And then I don't know how we got here.
I think it's so obvious that what was trans
can he answer your question?
Like this is
Okay, go ahead, Alan.
Thank you. Well, look, they probably didn't want to release. They said they found the casing that was used. That's the outside of the bullet. Queen, you've seen in movies or stuff, somebody shoots something and then something gets ejected from the gun and then they shoot again and something gets ejected. That's the casing. So I know you haven't heard of it, but it is a thing. People do it. As I was saying, in World War II, the soldiers or, people in the Air Force would write messages on the bombs that they were going to drop on their targets, whatever they were. So yeah, it is a thing. And this is not the first time. And I asked how long the cartridge was, because if the cartridge was a half an inch long, then it would be kind of hard. But if it's 2.5 inches, who knows? All he has to write is pro-trans or death to fascists or go Antifa. I mean, it could have been any number of messages that were 2 or 3 words. It would fit on the casing, so that is not an unreasonable assumption to make.
Yeah, 30-06 has plenty of room on the casing. And something else, if you're shooting a bolt action rifle and you take one shot, the cartridge would not automatically eject. The bolt action, you got to pull the bolt out, pull it back to eject the cartridge. So the only way, if there's only one shot, if the guy had a brain in his head and he had a shot that was accurate, he would not have ejected that cartridge. It would have been right in the gun. And when they found the gun, they probably found the cartridge still inside the gun because it's a bolt action hunting rifle.
They did. That's what the FBI reports.
They found the gun and the casings. The casings in the gun. Like there's still 2 other bullets.
Yeah, I mean,
there's a magazine in those rounds, so he was probably using a 700 Remington or something akin to that, maybe a Mossberg, the old style ones. Again, nothing really fancy, nothing elaborate, nothing costly, and basically, you can load the magazine in there, and the bolt will come back, and you can slide it up, and some of them have them, some of them are just, you got to feed it one at a time. This is, as I look it up more and more, and as people tell me, it's more and more, it's a hunting rifle. It's literally a hunting rifle. It's nothing out of the ordinary, especially out west. There's less forest. Most of the people on the East Coast are used to hunters with shotguns because your biggest shot is 50 yards. Out in the west, they have these things called prairies and mountains and shit. They have to shoot at a considerable more distance to actually take down an animal. So hunting rifles abound throughout the Midwest.
How long is a hunting rifle? Like
depends on the rifle.
Well, I'm saying, essentially, would he be able to be hiding behind this gun on this roof? This rifle?
First off, the fact that he went onto the roof shows, it tells anybody who's ever been in military or had to deal with a deep threat. It tells them that this is an actor. This is somebody who got they got the script from Hollywood. They watched movies and thought this is how it's done. You wouldn't have done it. A true shooter, somebody who is skilled in that, is going to go from a place of concealment, not in a roof where they're open and uncovered. They're going to be inside a building. They're going to be in some kind of hedgerow, someplace that's concealed. Also a place where it muffles the report of the rifle, or at least you can't pinpoint it from the sound. So they're going to look at that. They're also going to look at the way the sun is resting. And since there was no wind that day, but generally they would check for wind. A 200-yard shot, wind's not going to really be an effective measurement. Like any idiot could do that. You could pull your eyes closed. The other thing is where the shot landed. You can pretty much guess that It's where the pause is when his breathing took place. When you exhale and you go to pull that trigger, he breathed in at that right moment, and he probably because most shooters would have aimed center mass. That would probably be the most prolific target, and if he was aiming for a headshot, then he did it on his exhalation. If he did it on, if he was aiming center mass, he did it on his intake or his inhale, and the gun raised up and pulled to the right. Like, I mean, these are not hard concepts, and anybody who's fired a firearm and not watched Hollywood fucking movies and then gave their experience based on Hollywood would actually know these things.
May I just?
Yeah, and one other thing that could happen here too. Typically on hunting rifles, you zero those hunting rifles in at 100 yards, and then there's a ballistics chart that'll give you the drop at say 200, 300, 400 yards. It could have been that he misjudged, but I think Brad's right. It looks to me like he's doing center mass, and he just jerked it the last second. So that's what it looks like. But typically, you zero in at 100 yards, and you compensate for the ballistics of the gun at that point. But we where I live, we have 300 Weatherby's 30-06s. They're common where I live.
May I just make a point now, because I feel like now we're going a little too into geeky, nerdy conversations about bullets and guns. Just generally speaking about the psychology of where society is at right now. So if whoever this shooter is, the person on the opposite side of the ideology is going to feel like, oh, it's a victory, or it's some sort of, they're going to have this puritanical glee. And then tomorrow the opposite will happen, and then it's the other side's turn to feel that way. So I feel like for instance, even Gandhi or Martin Luther King, they were seen as threats by the opposite side of the ideology, and the person who assassinated them, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't know about Martin Luther King, but about Gandhi, I know that it was from the other side. That's what I'm saying. People on the right and left are going to keep taking turns doing the same exact thing, and we're just going to be on this rinse repeat loop cycle. And we're not going to talk about, just generally, we're not able to agree on the basic fact that regardless of someone's opinion or how they carry themselves in public life, etc., you cannot kill a man. Now, clearly, we're not being able to agree on that, because this has been happening since forever, right? Whenever you see leaders emerge in the public sphere and their ideology is diagonally opposite to yours, you feel like you can kill them. Why? Because you feel like that, because obviously the person who's killing the other person thinks he's right. So in his head, it's justified. And they're morally superior, and it needs to be done, right? Regardless of your ideology, that's what every human being who's doing that crime feels that way. So I think that's what is something very interesting we need to talk about. You would think that today with internet and a lot of hyper communication and debates, people would become a little bit more civil and smarter and a little bit more mature, but we just keep repeating the same thing.
Well, I actually want to take that point, like, back to what Serendipity was talking about at the beginning of the room. And that's the fact that anybody who saw the video, Charlie Kirk getting shot, it's probably the first time they ever actually really witnessed, like, a person being shot, like, in that gory of a way. Like, it's probably the first time they ever saw somebody getting killed. Although, obviously, there's subsets of individuals on the internet who like to haunt around these more like these gore sites where you see people getting like killed by the cartels and all that stuff. Those types of websites are out there. But the types of people that tend to focus around those types of websites are very like sick, twisted, dark-minded individuals. But most people, like, they try to avoid being exposed to that kind of stuff. So to the point that I think that Serendipity was trying to make, I think it's gonna fucking jolt a lot of people out of that tendency, like the space that gets created between them and other people, like empathically within the web space, because it's like violence in real life, it's not the same as it is in movies. It's really fucking ugly, and it's like
You're right, and then
it's not romantic, it's like to watch a person just go limp like a sack of potatoes, it can like cause like a shock within other people's
you
spirit.
would hope that humanity comes through all of the other bullshit, that we're caught up in.
Wait, why are you cutting him off? I don't really give a fuck about India or your perspective from India and what the U.S. should be, but why would you cut him off while he was talking?
Well, I was actually responding to what she was saying. I didn't mind that she cut me off, dude. So, like, at ease, soldier. Anyway, the point that I was trying to make is that this has the potential. This moment in our history has the potential to fucking go both ways. You know, either people are gonna fucking use this as a way of because I feel like the people that are really leading the charge in this country right now are the moderates and the centrists. Okay. We just don't know it because we don't have there's nobody fucking, people aren't looking for nuance right now, man. What they're looking for is this like extreme, like it's like this pathological, like twisted kind of like I love the word that you use, Lavanya, this puritanical glee, you know, that people, it's like they want their side to win and they're viewing like this political back and forth like it's a fucking sports ball game. You know what I mean? And they're like, it's all about tit for tat. It's all about scoring fucking points.
I'm gonna have to push back on that. You feel like the people leading the country right now are the moderates. I believe that the moderates are some majority of the country, but I don't feel like the moderates are the ones that have the voices in the political offices right now at all.
John, what do you think
No,
about
I
this?
think what he means, if I
airplane
may
that turned
speak
its
for
way
you,
off?
Joseph, is that the moderates are
Yeah, I don't know. I think everybody's investigating and trying to find as much evidence as possible to, you know, Laura Loomer is a dynamite stick. You know, she has brought down countless people. And so, you know, this is the thing is if somebody carries out a terrorist act like that, there's a lot of individuals who are so good at scouring the internet that this young man will be found. And the FBI just released photos of him.
Wait, the shooter?
Yep. And you can look at my PTR if you want to see what a terrorist supporter looks like. Her name is Buttercup.
Which guy is the one?
I don't know who. So it's this old guy, Bart Tippett?
No, it's a young white guy. He's this prime suspect.
Why? What was his motive? What did they bring up for me? Why did this guy? Okay. Oh my God, Mama. Okay. Kick him! Your people out. Kick him!
Daddy, I know very much, Daddy.
Then shut up. This guy looks like a meth head. Why is he so skinny? Maybe it's just that you're.
Wait, I want to know. Wait, which guy is the one?
Looks like he's on like methamphetamines.
Damn.
The way that his mouth, it's like.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
Hey, Floor, what's up?
Yo, what's good? I'm making an ice cream. Oh, poor bitch. Get the fuck out of this room. Nobody's talking.
Why? He's a cool guy. Why did you remove him?
No, he was literally fighting with me, Fiona, in a room, calling us fag, cocksuckers,
Really?
God knows what else. When he looks like that. It is so surprising because sometimes you girls are friends with all these men, and then you don't even realize they're actually homophobes because when they come to you, they're like all nice and chill.
I'm a
The
homophobe
moment you
too.
guys leave, you're. Yeah, this guy. Oh, hey, Stevie.
Sahi, my God.
I jealous. I'm not jealous. I'm just devastated. I'm disgusted. Yeah, I don't say no. You can masturbate too if you want. No, I'm okay. Can we do this, guys?
Again, starting off, I knew that after the 08,
My friend!
probably headed
My
towards
friend!
some
I have so
terrible
few
times,
friends,
because
my
anytime
friend.
There's like economic issues and people are feeling anxiety about money, like Lavanya said. They start to turn on each other. They start to look for each other's to scapegoat because they know that they can't do anything, or they can't even confront the people who are really sitting in the seats of power. And so these figureheads come along, these people with the gift of gab, propagandists.
Nothing. That's not really you in your PTR, is it?
Say,
Damn, you are hot, girl.
Thanks.
Where do you live?
John for Congress for real. You're running for Congress.
Yep. So wait, where do you live?
I live in California.
Where, Los Angeles?
No, Orange County.
Oh. So what are you doing? You just created a room, you're just chilling out?
I didn't even notice I created one.
Oh, you're chilling, you're having a relaxing day, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
What about you?
I am also having a relaxing day, icing my foot down, and I'm recording Clubhouse rooms as people make assholes of themselves.
Okay, cool.
My friend down there also thinks you're rather beautiful.
I removed him. I didn't know who that was.
Who, my friend? Oh, you kicked him? Oh, too bad.
Oops.
Oopsie!
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like you're doing that well.
I'm laying down.
You're chillaxing.
Chillaxing for real.
Do you have Instagram?
I do have Instagram.
Let me add you.
No.
Why not?
I have a boyfriend.
Oh, you got a boyfriend?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, I got a pet goldfish. Let's talk about shit that doesn't matter.
The fuck?
I'm just saying, is your boyfriend like the Holy Spirit? Because I don't see him anywhere.
John, you have the whitest jokes ever. I can't.
They're dad jokes.
Yeah, they're dad jokes for real.
All right, well, I hope you have a great day. And health, wealth, love, peace of mind, happiness, and strength.
You're funny as fuck.
Million followers. It was either on X or social media combined. Does Trump even have that many followers? Does anybody else, any other political figures have that kind of following? That's how influential he was, and he appealed to young kids. This was a political assassination. And the second point, and I'll make it quick, where is he left? This idea
John, shut up.
that coming to a conclusion and being able to see both sides.
Shut up, you dusty bitch.
I understand the rationale for that. But in political discussion, when your opposition refuses to do the same and is more than willing to come to definitive conclusions such as trans women are real women and abortion rights are health care for women, etc., etc.
Yeah, I can hear you.
All the slogans. this hesitancy I've seen in rooms for the people who lean right to make any kind of conclusion is maddening. It's giving.
I'm
done.
Yeah.
I'm done. Thank you.
I almost lost the train of thought with King. So to be fair to King, she is correct that there is on both sides there are accelerations. There, people like Yarvin who are true Christian nationalists. What was referencing, I think Brett was referencing to, and on the left there are people who are looking for some sort of socialist or communist utopia at the end of their rainbow. And they're looking to, both of them are Hegelian in nature, meaning that they use dialectical process of conflict theory to expedite the future. So what it means that basically they create a conflict when, two oppositions, they collide, they create a new synthesis, the new conflict arises, the new opposition arises, they conflict them together, and they progress the history towards their goal in this matter. So that's absolutely true that it happens, and there is this ideology, very kind of deep ideology that goes into it. Where I disagree with King is that he was not grassroots. He was absolutely grassroots. I think that's how he started his movement. His intention was to provide community for conservative students on campuses and create a network, which he utilized for obviously political purposes, to create support for the candidates that they would promote. They did not promote, and also, that's very important to understand, like he gets labeled as a Christian nationalist. He's not. Most of the candidates, if you look at the list of who they promoted, they were pretty mainstream, maybe right-wing, maybe right-leaning, but definitely not Christian nationalist figures in the Republican Party. It's a mixed bag in terms of his success. I think in some cases they were successful in installing people that they promoted. In some cases they were not, but he was a very prominent political figure, and I agree that it was definitely a political assassination.
Hey, Bima, you and Messenger came up on stage. Did you guys have anything you wanted to add?
Yeah, I wanted to agree with Alan. I definitely think, a lot of the news outlets too, they have, professional, CIA agents. Everybody's saying that it's a professional hit. It was early on as to, foreign intelligence. Just listen, there are former insider. A lot of people are pointing to, Alan summed it up perfectly. Nobody else had a captive audience in this country that Charlie Kirk did. And he did an excellent job. 3,500, multiple chapters, 800 chapters. That's huge. That's as big as, or getting onto, political party size state, you know what I'm saying? And this is the youngest minds, high school and college. And look at his followers. Look at how many followers he had over multiple social media. Nobody was compared. Nobody's even comparable to Charlie Kirk. Nobody. Absolutely nobody. You cannot compare millions and millions of his. Are you kidding me? The views, the reach. He had a YouTube. He had a radio show. He had all of these things. Insane. Alan was. I agree with Alan, and I also agree with the multiple professionals who are saying that it's professionals.
They're not. Have you watched the latest news briefings? Because Brad made some pretty compelling arguments earlier about why this did not mark up as a professional hit, and the latest news releases have been that this person had transgender and anti-fascist writings written on the cartridge clip things. And they have narrowed down, this is a 20-something-year-old college kid, at least if the person in the pictures is accurate. So I think that a lot of the evidence that's coming to light says that it's anything but a professional hit.
Yeah, but it could be this too. It may not be professional, but it could be someone that grew up in a family of hunters that that shot long distances, that was familiar with the type of ballistics and the kind of weapon that would be needed. So you could have someone that wasn't a pro but was around people that had shot all their life. Where I live, people start shooting at a real young age. They know people that hunt constantly. This was a shot that 90% of the people around where I live could make since they've been about 17, 18.
Right, but I think
community.
by professional beam is implying foreign entities.
Right. No, but I'm just saying. There's two things that tell me this guy probably grew up around someone that either done this or knew something about it. Number one, the type of weapon. If you're going to shoot and you want to be accurate, unlike the guy in Pennsylvania that used 223. Now you're going to go for a larger cartridge, 308, 30 out 6.
30 caliber.
That would have really hit his hole in his neck, so we know it wasn't that. I put a huge.
Well, you don't know.
The memo says that the gun that was found was a 30-06.
So
yeah, you don't know because a 30-06, the cavity you're going to produce with the 30-06, it depends on the tissue where it entered and the cavity. A 30-06 has a lot of energy. If you'd hit someone in the neck, I don't know if you've ever killed anything with a 30-06.
Well, I'm gonna shoot myself, right?
Wait, guys. One of the things I want to say too is that the bullet, he was not shot in the neck. He was shot in the chest, but he had protective armor on, and it ricocheted up. So that's gonna.
Well, I'll tell you this: he hit the artery because the amount of blood coming out had to be his neck. That was the blood gush.
It was careful on that. Was that I would be cautious on a lot of the vests. Like a lot of people have this, they don't have an idea of like what levels of vests there are out there. There are some vests, and just to dumb it down for like the baseline people that get their information from Hollywood. There's vests that will take one round. Like they're designed to take a high caliber one round and break apart. The plates will snap, and it'll absorb that. It doesn't guarantee it's going to stop it, but it'll absorb that, and then it's done. It's a one-shot vest. That's it.
That's true.
There are other vests that'll take smaller caliber rounds in mass, and they'll come through, and they'll absorb, hopefully, block or at least slow down, deflect, block some of that impact. Unless you have steel plates in there, and even then, steel plates will be a little different category. So the vest. Don't necessarily. Watching the video, I do not get the impression that the impact originally was targeted to the chest. It looks like it hit directly into the neck. I don't see that impact point on the chest. Serendipity, he would have had a different reaction with his body in terms of that. It would have knocked him back and he would have went inward. This didn't happen, so I don't think that conspiracy holds any weight to it. Anybody who's watching it just can see that it just doesn't look like there was that impact went to the chest.
So if it would have been around that high of a caliber, even if it was true that he had a one-shot vest, the fragmentation would have hit other people. You would have seen that. I don't see how that much force, if he did get hit, would only ricochet into his neck. No, that round, it would have splattered, it would have splintered, it would have created fragmentation. And if it would have ricocheted or any fragmentation, you would have seen that, and other people would have gotten hit as well. There's bullets.
Not only that, a 30-06, the amount of energy on impact a 30-06 has. If a 30-06 round hits you in the chest, your chest is going to move. You're not just going to sit there.
You're going to have
you got a lot of
in your chest.
Yeah, you got a lot of energy from a 30-06. I shot a deer one time with a 30-06, hit it kind of high, took the deer off its feet. So let me tell you, you're not going to get hit in the chest with a 30-06 and your chest not move. The fact is, that didn't happen. Plain and simple. Anyone's ever shot that gun?
So you think it was a direct hit to the neck?
Yeah, it was a direct hit.
Yeah, you're not going to take a 30. Like I say, I shot a deer with a 30-06. I caught him kind of high on the chest, above the chest cavity, up towards the back of the deer. It blew the deer off his feet. And you're telling me that Charlie Kirk? Yeah, it went through, but the point is it delivered enough energy high enough on the deer, and probably the deer wasn't standing on all four legs when I hit him. He's probably a little off balance, but it blew him off his feet. You're not going to get hit with a 30-06 round in the chest, and your chest not moved. It ain't happening.
Well, let me throw this point out too, because I actually did go through, because a 30-06, I don't know the percentage, but I'll say 80% of the time it's going through because it has that much force. If you shot him in the neck with all that soft tissue, no bone, it would have 100% went through.
She left because
would that be fair to make sense? It went through the top part of the
Wait, say that again. Say that again.
So I actually did go through the deal. He said yes. Why? Because the energy behind it is usually through and through. Because if you usually take a hole like that, that's the deal. Probably would say hit bone. He hit him in the soft part of the neck. And you're going to tell me that didn't go straight through?
Well, yeah, it could have went straight through, but it may not have hit anything, and the energy of it could just blew right through him and got him.
We don't keep Randy or guys that leave it up to serendipity if she wants to continue. I guess it's amazing for most of that. I don't know if it's really the topic she's on.
She's essentially initiated that attention. I just wanted to let her know that, like, that 36 through a chest is, I know there's a lot of conspiracies. I mean, you're just, what, you're talking 1,500 yards is, I think, the record for a shot with a 30-06, and that was from World War II. So, I mean, you're Charlie Kirk is not sitting at 200 yards and just sitting there calmly, still in the chest. Like, he's not going to be standing there or sitting there after that impact if it hit the chest. Like, it's just not going to happen. And more than likely, it wouldn't have gone up into his neck like that. It's going to absorb it. It doesn't really ricochet it off like that, to be honest with you.
Okay. Well, that's good to know because, yeah, they've got like slow-mo videos out there showing, and it does look like but it makes sense to me that, like, if there had been chest impact, there would have been damage from said impact if there was a ricochet as far as, like, even a hole in his shirt. But there's slow-mo video that actually you see the chest protection literally rise up.
Yeah. At 200 yards, this is not any great distance. It's not like you need to be skilled. You don't have to account for wind. You don't have to account for gravitational forces, heat rises, thermal maps, the rotation of the Earth, the Cornelius effect. You don't have to apply any of these things to this kind of shooting scenario. So listing these out, you're looking at just a direct putting it on there. I'm willing to bet the scope is either sighted for 50 to 100 yards, and it's a hunting rifle. And again, it looks like, even the photo, it looks like the kid's got a string bean neck. Like, there's no muscle mass on this kid whatsoever. I'm doubting that there's any military training. I doubt that there's absolutely nothing about this indicates a professional hit. Professionals wouldn't operate this way. It's just not like Hollywood.
And he does look like a kid. If the video footage that they're showing the picture of, he definitely does look like a 20-something year-old kid.
I have an innocent question. I'm not asking you to be sassy or anything. So if you want to get personal with me just for asking this question, please come down. I'm just wondering, so okay, you do have lax views about guns, etc. But shouldn't there be like all the things that you're talking about, the kind of gun it was, and the fact that he wasn't a professional shooter, etc. Shouldn't there?
And if we're setting the metric now, the standard now, that being racist is epidemic, then there's a lot of efforts that need to be done. Now, the activism needs to be done. But I'm not advocating for it. I'm just saying that will be a stupid standard for someone to say that he's racist or he deserves or should be killed, some shit like that. We're at a sensitive point society where we are accepting extremes to be the norm. And I think people really have to cheat that, because this opened the door for all of us to be targeted to this particular extreme, to being killed. And, so I say, that person said now we put it out to where we can just say they're racist, give you a few clips out of context, and it just even have to be the case, because we feel that way. And that's what it really boils down to. If we feel like you should die, then you should die sexually. And I think that is a terrible standard to have. And I know many people believe that too, but because it's somebody that you don't like die, you're willing to change the rules of them or ignore them, because it favors your position at this point in time. If Charlie Kirk was sitting here celebrating the death of the various blacks that died that's on social media, we would be like, yo, dude, why are you feeling this way towards these people that's going through these things? Like, you're so apathetic, and that's not warranted. But meanwhile, we're doing the opposite. Not we yet, but the opposite where somebody don't die. And instead of just being indifferent, instead of like, hey, let these people mourn, just decide, it's not a good look for anyone, you embellish it, you amplify it, you advocate for it. It's like, okay, you do know that this could come back to bite your ass, but people don't care. I think we have a kamikaze death cult society to where we are just
Oh, were you done for or did you cut off, bro?
Yeah, sorry, no, I think my Bluetooth switched over and it didn't. Sorry, yeah, but just nip it in the bud. I'm just saying that I can't remember exactly verbatim what I said. The bottom line is I think we have this young cult society where we're going kamikaze that we're willing to tear everything down and kill us in the process.
I'm sorry.
When you're ready. Yeah, go ahead, Reinhardt. You got it. And I know John, Quan, and Dara joined too. So yeah, you guys can go on after Reinhardt if you guys want to chime in. But Reinhardt, you got it.
Thank you for your time. So yesterday, news broke out. The news actually broke out a month ago that sources leaked to Harrison Smith from Infowars that Charlie Kirk was fearing his life against Israel. That Israel might kill him if he started to turn against him. And Charlie Kirk, he actually was criticizing Israel a lot these last few months. And I put all the in the comments. It's a bunch of links. He talked about Epstein being a Mossad agent, which is crazy. He said, yeah, Epstein has ties to Israel and Mossad, and was doing blackmail operations on our politicians and shit. That's crazy for Charlie Kirk to say. And that got swept under the rug. He said that. He also said that Jew leftist organizations are the ones facilitating mass immigration into white countries, and they're anti-white. And they're making, that's very significant.
Reinhardt, I spoke to you about 3 o'clock East Coast time. We're not going to do that. No.
What?
I told you about 3 o'clock this morning, East Coast time.
Okay.
Planning to do, a lot of decoupling to do, because Jewish donors have been the number one funding mechanism of radical, open-border, neoliberal, quasi-Marxist politics, cultural institutions, and nonprofits. This is a beast created by secular Jews. And now it's coming for Jews, and you're like, what on earth happened? And it's not just the colleges, it's the nonprofits, it's the movies, it's Hollywood, all of it.
Is the fact we should be able
time for you guys to wake up and say no more.
And then you sift out and figure out whether you believe it or not. This is the man didn't say 100% that the Jews did it. He didn't say. He's just saying that
he came across earlier.
It was on Fox News.
Hold on, Sarah. Let KP respond, Sarah. 1 second. Go ahead, KP. Sorry.
And Sig and we can hash this out. No, he came on and said earlier that Jews were 100% behind it. And I stopped him earlier, about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock this morning, in a room. I said, hey, if you have solid proof that they did something, then say it. We don't know who did it or why they did it. So I don't want this stuff to be out there of hypotheticals, because no detective sat down
gain-of-function research. Really. So now it's legal for us to modify viruses and make them more deadly.
We don't want to speculate.
Yeah,
we know that whatever they tell us.
You want to round six.
Yeah, I wasn't there for the 3 o'clock morning discussion, but as far as right now, what's going on now on this day,
Just asking for a moment of prayer.
come across here's some information to take a look at. But yeah, what I'm saying, I'll give everybody.
I wanted to make video.
Warning.
As you guys have been watching the news, there's conflicting reports all around the globe.
You come across information.
Literally all around the globe. Israeli.
We got a right to share whatever information, and we got to be smart enough to be able to discern what
Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of hatred against whites that they Jewish communities have been pushing the exact behavior by a lot, both privately and publicly, are pushing people like you and me away. Not like we're going to be pro-Hamas, not like we're going to, but we're like, honestly, the way you are treating me is so repulsive. I have text messages, Megan, calling me an anti-Semite. I am learning biblical Hebrew and writing a book on the Shabbat. I honor the Shabbat, literally the Jewish Sabbath. I visit Israel and fight for it. There's another article out in the Times of Israel today. I could read it on air. I was just reading before I got on. Charlie,
what that video with Megyn Kelly, and like he was like,
what are you doing? Like, why are you? What am I doing? I'm sorry.
I think it's crazy. I think it's plausible. Like his audience was turning against Israel. He did a whole video, like a focus group with his Turning Point captains and shit, and they were all against Israel, and he had to like soothe their worries and stuff. Like, yeah, we'll work on these things with Israel. You know, it doesn't have to be exactly this way.
But I just saw Bibi.
So I think that's why they killed her. I think it's plausible that they didn't want his organization, his audience, to turn anti-Zionist, to turn anti-Israel. They wanted to solidify his legacy, like how it is now. I think that's my theory.
So I just saw on Fox News, Bibi Netanyahu, he mourning the death of Charlie Kirk and praising him. And maybe I'm misunderstanding this conversation that's going on here right now, but I was under the impression that Charlie Kirk was pro-Israel. But are you trying to say that that's not true?
Yeah, he was pro-Israel in there, but the last few weeks, there was a bunch of clips you can find out because they're starting to really circulate. He was questioning some of the narrative coming from Israel. Like one of the big things he questioned was the October 7th attack and whether that there were internal orders for IDF soldiers to stand down. And he was saying when he visited Israel, you couldn't walk 20 feet without running into an IDF soldier. And everything was surveillance, everything was locked down. So he said that, he's heard from some inside sources that it's possible Israel knew about the attack ahead of time, put a stand-down order to let Hamas do the attack so they'd have a reason to go ham on Hamas in Gaza and stuff. So, again, speculation. This is coming from Charlie Kirk, and these are one of the questions that he was starting to ask once more information came across his desk.
So since I just got in here, I just kind of want to give my perspective on what happened to Charlie Kirk. I saw him at CPAC when I was at the National Harbor earlier this year, and when I learned the news yesterday that he had been shot, of course I just started praying because I just felt like
Pritzker
why am I
a tremendous job on behalf of the people
and so
in the great state of Illinois and his
and then once I looked at that video, the up-close video, there was absolutely no way. I knew he was going to be. I mean, that blood came rushing out like a fire. I've never seen anything like it. And as a black person that is a Republican, and I'm very vocal about my politics, it's a dangerous time.
Charlie Kirk, who obviously,
especially a black person, it's a dangerous time to be a Republican because my car, I
what for us? Well, everything has changed.
And
if we didn't know it already, there was no longer any middle ground. Some of the American left are undoubtedly well-meaning people.
Our country was founded on common law because the Declaration only refers to God 4 times in the Constitution. It doesn't refer to God at all, and it only articulates the structure of government.
So first of all, remember that we were a collection of states and colonies, and you need to read the state constitutions and everything else. 13 required a declaration of faith in almost every single one of the original state constitutions. They had, I profess Lord and Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior. Secondly, 55 and 56 of the original signers of the Declaration relied on believing church to any Christians. You asked about common law. Let's go to 3 principles of common law. Presumption of innocence, due process, and jury of your peers. All 3 are biblical principles. So, and all wrapped into the ultimate biblical.
Charlie Kirk, the president. Can y'all still hear me?
Loud and clear, yeah.
The president of the United States. Other, very, visible, vocal Republicans and conservatives. They're targets. And, after I learned that Charlie had passed, I said, I think I need to pull back. I need to pull back on how I talk on Facebook in spaces like this. But I decided, no, I'm not, because that's what they want. Not doing it. That's all I want to say. Thank you for holding this room, Steve.
Can I say that?
Yeah, let the professionals. I know the professionals. Hold on 1 second. The professor, you got the mic now.
Yeah, it was on Washington Post that was saying that there were phrases related to cultural issues on the rifle that he had. And I believe it's Matt said it was Fox News that said they were saying it's related to transgender, military, all that stuff. I don't know. I mean, people can think or say whatever they want. I'm talking. I don't know who's opening your mic. I haven't finished. You're right. We can say whatever. Like, people can think whatever. I get all of that. But this dude was absolutely not anti-Israel. Israel doesn't hunt people down for criticizing them. This is insane for people. And I would think they will catch this guy today. He'll be caught today. And we'll know what the motive was. So I don't understand. Horrible. You give thumbs down. We all know you hate Jews. You're not anti-Semite. You hate Jews. Your problem is not with Israel. You hate every Jew. You just call me Arab.
Israel doesn't hunt down people who criticize them. That's hilarious.
Arab in the chat.
That is hilarious.
I'm telling you, because I'm telling you, wait for it to come out. What?
Hold on 1 second, guys. Let Sarah finish her point. You guys can everybody go ahead, Sarah.
Yeah, that was all I was going to say. We still don't know if there's a relationship between the cultural stuff written on the rifle and the motive. We don't know that, but we do know there was cultural issues written on the rifle. That's on the news, released by FBI.
All right, Renee, what's going on? Welcome to the stage.
Yeah, he was questioning Israel. He was. That's a fact. And to question Israel doesn't mean you're anti-Jew. That's bull. I'm not gonna hear that no more. You can't use that no more. That logic doesn't fly. And Israel doesn't silence critics. Okay, that's hilarious. That's all I had to say.
Hey, mods, this is John. I'd like to be put in the queue.
Yeah. I'm gonna let John go first, and then Dopey go next. What's going on, John? Good morning, bro. Or good afternoon, maybe.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, I put a lot of links in the chat because I did look on X. Somebody said, the Megyn Kelly interview. So he's blaming liberal, Democrat, Marxist, socialist, communist Jews in this country for our open borders and all these NGO nonprofit scams. He's not attacking Israel. Israel's rather conservative compared to America. So it's not anti-Zionism. In fact, he was writing a book about the Shabbat. He loves Jews, and I put the receipts in the chat. So all you Israel haters out there that think that they're genocidal maniacs and you can't be further from the truth, you're wrong. Charlie Kirk was assassinated most likely by a leftist, liberal, Democrat, psychopath murderer. And all you have to do is go to Politically Correct in Patty's room where you can hear them saying Charlie Kirk got what he deserved. People on this app are sociopathic, psychopathic, and homicidal ideators. You all hear it all the time. People are glorifying his death. People are singing songs about his death. They're happy that he's been murdered because he's able to defeat them in debate. And when you can't win in a debate, what do you do in Clown World? You blow their fucking head off, because that's all that liberal Democrats, socialists, Marxists, communists have been doing throughout history, is murdering people who stand up against their bullshit rhetoric. I am complete. Thank you.
Yeah, so John kind of made a good point there. The idea that Charlie was targeted by Israel, the country in the middle of a war, they had to, and they're hunting down Houthis and fucking Hamas terrorists. They had to make their way to target Charlie Kirk because he was not as gung-ho about Israel as Ben Shapiro, I guess. That's the argument that some of these people are making. So they'll have to get over the fact that Charlie was due to visit Israel and he accepted an invitation to visit Israel for January. He was literally making pro-Israel comments throughout almost every single tour. During almost every single campus he was going through during the tour he got killed on. So if he's supposedly turning anti-Israel, I think it would be easier, one, for Israel to try and convince him and try to pay him, because that's what these anti-Israel activists say is already going on. They're paying Charlie Kirk. Maybe they should just ramp up the payments, or maybe that wouldn't have worked, I guess. So their only solution was to shoot him out in broad daylight, and that would totally fix the problem that they're dealing with. Shoot Charlie Kirk in broad daylight and make sure that everybody can see it. And once that happens, for some reason, everyone's going to love Israel now. Yeah. And instead of having Charlie Kirk, the most pro-Israel person at Turning Point USA, continue to be the person leading Turning Point USA, kill him in public. Because Israel is Israel, and they do Israel things because it makes Israel sense or whatever. Fuck.
Well, this is, the same organization, Mossad, who planted explosives inside of pagers and infiltrated Iran 5 months earlier, and set up drones, Mossad soldiers, agents, and shit like that. They're in Iran and planned the attack in Iran. That same group couldn't get to Charlie Kirk with some type of poison that doesn't register on a test. They couldn't come in and put something in his water bottle and just fucking drop dead, and nobody able to figure it out. It's definitely somebody that sent 200 yards away with a bolt action rifle and fucking shot him because that was their only fucking chance. That was their only opportunity to get at Charlie Kirk, the evil Nazi piece of shit that they hate. But the complex fucking Mossad who orchestrates global events, definitely couldn't fucking kill him in another fucking less obvious way.
Yeah, I'm not buying the Mossad or Israel's. I'm not buying it. I think
Sick. You remember the KGB when they did the umbrella shit? Remember when they did the umbrella? When they walked up and touched the back of its fucking cap, and a fucking piece of fucking metal went into a ball, went into his fucking skin, and it fucking beats dead in an hour. You don't think the soft has that capability to just go and put something in
Say it again.
Oh, yeah. So the KGB, there was a guy back in the 70s or 80s. They had a fake umbrella, and the guy was walking with the umbrella, and in front of him was somebody they wanted to kill, and he just reached forward and
stuck him in the back of his leg.
Yeah, stuck him in the back of his leg, and it injected this little ball that had uranium or some shit like that. Yeah. He was dead within an hour. Mossad doesn't have that capability to come in with a hypodermic needle and stick it into one of Charlie Kirk's water bottles. I mean, they implanted fucking explosives into fucking pagers. You don't think they could go to fucking Walmart and just or anything? Wait till the Walmart delivery goes to this fucking house and inject fucking some type of shit into his water and kill him. They have that ability. But no, they have to sit with a fucking bolt action rifle, probably fucking Cabela's to fucking shoot 200 yards out.
No, that's. If you look at the rifle, that was probably from the 70s. It looks like a Win Mag or a 30-06 Remington.
Yeah, it's a 30-06 sure.
Okay.
Which one are you guys talking about? The wood grain one?
Yes, and I have a couple of them, and I'm trying to find the patterns on it.
So the wood grain one was a different guy that was at Provo, Utah.
Continuing to drive
The one that they found was
You shall not favor justice if you are rich or poor, which is Leviticus 19, which is the idea of blind justice, which is incorporated also in the New Testament ideal of neither slave nor free nor Jew, you're all one in Jesus Christ, divinity, human equality. These are all biblical ideas, but more important than that, they say that God was only mentioned 4 times in the Declaration of Independence. That's a big deal. John Adams used to say the Constitution was only written for a moral, religious people. It was only inadequate for people than the others. The modern politics of America was so Christian that our form and structure of government was built for the people that believe in Christ our Lord. One of the reasons we're living through a constitutional crisis is that we no longer have a Christian nation, but we have a Christian form of government, and they're incompatible. So you cannot have liberty if you do not have a Christian population.
Yeah, it was, right? Okay. I haven't seen common law. I haven't seen verbiage of that.
And I can tell you I'm super blessed. I have the best wife in the world, living an amazing life, building a family is the coolest thing ever, and my prayer for all of you is one day to do that.
With like curly hair and a ball cap on. And then the police officer
honestly the most joyful thing. And I've had some pretty amazing experiences. I'm very, very blessed. Very lucky, you could say, but very blessed is what I would use. And the greatest joy I've ever had is bringing home to my little daughter. There's nothing that even comes close to it now. Flying Air Force One, not meeting with presidents, that's all pales in comparison to your little girl coming up and squeezing your leg. And I can tell you I'm super blessed. I have the best wife in the world. We have an amazing life. Building a family is the coolest thing ever. And
they sound like a subsonic rap.
Okay, everybody, the South Park episode just dropped, and honestly, it is hilarious. I mean, part of it's kind of like whatever, it's so human, but it was hilarious. Just watch this little snippet of our Prove Me Wrongs, our viral cultural domination on prime time on Comedy Central. So important, so impactful that South Park is highlighting.
They have an image of Johnny with the stereo.
If anyone around here is going to be a master debater, it's me. So let's go. Who wants to debate the man?
He's got a very distinct American
I know they desperately want Trump gone. I know that they desperately want it.
Once they figure out what that image is, it's an American flag.
That Trump cannot run
it. Like a bald eagle or some shit like that, but it's got like a very distinct image. Like
I'm just flesh and bone, but more importantly,
to be able to run it through some like image search and figure out what the image is on his
unbelievable.
And then once they do that, then they can reverse search and find out 12 years that you're such a young auditor in the last year or two.
Then all across the world, I've met
yeah, I got it too.
Because when I saw that shot, I said, he's dead.
Oh yeah, my wife said the same thing. She said, before he hit the ground, he was dead.
So when he cleansed up and everything, all that Kool-Aid was coming out, I said, he's done. But they had to wait to, talk to family and all that stuff before it's released to the press.
That's not me. That's not me. We're talking at the same time. It's not me. You're just jealous that I'm on TV, you big stupid dummy.
John, we're having a conversation.
I'm sorry. I thought Point was interrupting you.
So when the Utah governor said it, then 15 minutes later, our president came out and said, he's gone. Like shit, we already knew he was gone.
Yeah, I mean, seeing this person left the rifle in the woods, and it's an image of there's footprints, there's also palm prints, all this kind of shit. I mean, he's definitely gonna get caught. It wasn't some fucking secret fucking pro-Mossad agent, because they would have disappeared. We would have never heard anything about it. It would have just went away.
Yeah, you're gonna be cooked. You got footprints, of course they're gonna find your shoes. You got fingerprints on the rifle, you're done.
Yeah,
DNA. Now we just need to know why. That's it. Why?
You wanna guess on why?
I thought they said
Charlie Kirk is a Nazi and a piece of shit.
I thought they said that there was engravings on or messages about LGBTQ on the grass that they found with the gun.
Yeah, I don't know. Like 18th.
It was on the Cape.
There were political messages on around, and they found out with the 30-6 that was wrapped in cloth.
I heard anti-fascism, and that's what the message is, whatever it was.
That's, yeah, exactly, on the bullets, that's right.
Yeah, police that this is a time when everyone should come together and feel well and mourn what happened. Violence, which affects so many different people, so many different
transgender and anti-fascist.
I just don't even know why there aren't uprisings all over the country. Maybe there will be.
The Kitover rifle, the one that was used to assassinate Charlie Kirk. So they found 3 rounds inside of the magazine. It was an old Mauser, 30-06. For those of you who don't know, New York, 30-06 is a big fucking round. Big fucking round. The white-tailed duck, white-tailed duck.
And they're taking away fundamental rights. I want to tell you, Gorsuch. I want to tell you, Kavanaugh. You have released the whirlwind.
I'll be honest.
I want to tell you, Gorsuch. I want to tell you, Kavanaugh.
It's a World War II rifle, and most of the time they're just shooting with iron sights.
You have released the whirlwind, and you.
I love your generation. I'm like, we got you. I don't know when the 30-6 or 30-30. Like, you ever play Call of Duty?
No, bro. It's the World War II version of the 30-aught. It's just an old ass sniper rifle.
He technically missed though, because he barely hit his neck.
No, he didn't actually hit that. The Spalding hit the pepper like that. And then it went up and it sprayed up. It went up into his back.
You're trying to kill somebody and say you're aiming for the neck and you hit the neck. If you miss high, you hit the head. If you miss high,
this is why you buy the things. Buy the things like Spalding.
You can't make it. I mean, take your Benjamin Crumpasses and find another rallying point, because this one's not going to get it.
Can I need to add a bit of nuance to this. So,
Sarah and Canadian, and we don't really get anything from you guys anyway.
Yeah, right. Good morning, bro. Having my first coffee here. Hey, yeah. So, but here's the thing, serendipity. Like, if a white person does something horrible, it does look better if you're like, fuck yeah, this person's horrible. I don't like people like that, right? Right. What I'm talking about is this, right? It's much better. It's much better to do that, right? So, it's an interesting thing. I went on a tour of the old Jewish quarters in Prague's Czechoslovakia, right? Or sorry, now it's Czech Republic. And it was really interesting because I took an in-depth tour of some of their buildings, basically community centers. And there was a bunch of laws that what my guide showed me. And these are really old, archaic laws, right? But as not everybody may know this, but the Jews were, very much treated like shit and kind of kept away from the rest of the Prague culture. They were at 9 o'clock at night. They weren't allowed out, blah, blah, blah. But what was interesting is anytime a Jewish person did something wrong, for example, this was considered wrong back in 16th century Prague, so keep that in mind. But if he was like walking down the street hand in hand with like a non-Jewish girl, right, his punishment that he would receive from within his own tribe, from the Jewish people, was far more severe than the punishment than the Christians would put on that young Jewish boy, right? Because the Jews knew human nature, humans being stupid and generalizing, that if he was caught, their whole community would be generalized by the Czechs, right? The Czechs would say, oh, look at these guys, look what they're doing, it's so wrong. So in that manner, the entire community really, it's not fair, but what I'm saying is that they understood human nature very well. Right? They understood human nature well. So what I'm saying is it's a much better look. For example, I'm a white guy. If some white person does something stupid, I'm really going to disavow them because I don't want fucking non-white people thinking I'm sticking up for idiots in my own community, whatever. I don't really consider myself part of the white community, but you know what I mean? So you do have to juggle that kind of other people's impressions of your community, right? Because when it
No, you.
Yeah, I think you do. Because
like you said.
I don't. I think that's just like saying I need to have white guilt. I should be guilty because I'm
No, it's not white guilt. It's
different. Hold on, I'll tell you how racist everybody else is. Let me sit down. You sound like the liberal cock that you're coming off. Like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'll hold smoke for the same for every fucking degenerate there is.
Oh, I do too.
No, you don't. You just told us you don't. You hold more for white people. Like you are more racist than anybody else on the stage.
No. You don't understand the nuance of what I'm saying.
I get your nuance. You're a racist.
I understand how you're trying to be nuanced, but at the end of the day, in the most extreme example, what you're describing is exactly why people rationalize that I should have white guilt. Yes, that's an extreme example of where you're going with that, but it is nonetheless, that it does nonetheless make the same point. I feel like I have a duty to condemn acts of violence, to condemn things that are morally wrong to me, but I don't feel like I have a duty to take on an accountability because I happen to share the same skin color, the same way I would not expect any community to take on accountability. And I mean, that's kind of been the whole premise for why I've made this whole argument about this isn't a left and right issue. This is a sick motherfucker psychotic issue. And
I agree with you.
Yeah.
You can't
what's your
argument of going about, I guess, morality based on how other people think of you. No, you go on the route to be moral because it is good to be moral, not because of another group. That'll be like me as a black man joining all the idiots praising his death or saying, oh, that man was mentally ill, he shouldn't be prosecuted or criminally charged for stabbing someone. No, both of these acts are immoral. Both of these acts are against
by many to
good
be the
human values.
greatest
So I am
French
against
clock
both
ever
of these
made,
actions,
made by the
regardless of
greatest
skin color,
ebony
race,
state to ever
ideology,
live in
culture,
Squaw. He
appearances,
first
whether I'm
conceived
a
of this
person or
idea
not.
of the
We
design
can't
in
make decisions
1890
because the
and
other
spent
group say
10
that
years
they
making this
believe
clock. He
that.
debuted
I
at
can't
the
agree with that.
1900s World Fair. This World Fair in particular was super important, not just for France, but all the world. It was marking a new century. You know, we aren't in the past, we're new. And you see that in every element of this design. He was taking Louis the 15th was really in his training, but he was putting Art Nouveau spin on it. It is so elaborate. It was exceptionally expensive to make. It was like $22,900 francs to make, which would be 8 years of an average laborer's
people are irrational, and we understand that, and we do generalize. So when we disavow people from within our own community and really make it very clear that this person doesn't represent us, then it makes our community look a lot better. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's logical. I'm not saying feelings of guilt, like feeling like, oh, I have to be responsible for everyone. But it is kind of a smart social thing to do. And then, you know what I mean?
I know what you mean, but if you think that it's not clear in another person's mind that one is only responsible for their own personal actions and not that of whatever phenotypical group they think they may belong to, you're assuming that guilt upon yourself in a fabricated way.
No, but what it is you're just taking in. I'm not assuming their particular guilt. I'm assuming that human beings are irrational and they do generalize things. I have a different way of looking at things. I mean, you guys disagree, that's fine.
No,
it's like the old Italian thing,
not
right?
That definition of the word assume. I mean, yeah, bring it upon you transfer it upon yourself.
You're not transferring it upon yourself. You're saying, look, for example, what was it? I don't know, like the Italians. Like back in the day, if one dumb Italian kid done something stupid, the whole family would come and apologize for what that kid did, or the entire family would come and apologize for the actions of what their father did or something like that and ask for forgiveness from the other family. I think there's a reason to do it. I'm not saying
I understand that.
Yeah,
we all got these, Matthew. So I understand that, and right, like families, you're talking a long time ago, and families apologizing for the acts of their families, but we're not talking about families, right? We're talking about, like we said, the idea that an Italian or a Black person or a Jewish person or a white person should feel accountable for the actions of a lone wolf. I'm not following the logic of that whatsoever.
Do you think that human beings have evolved? Have they become more sophisticated, more nuanced? Do we no longer generalize?
Why did you push this there? Like, you could have just left it off and said, all right, you're Canadian, it's a retarded take. We get it. You're patronizing. You're white guilt. You're Robin DiAngelo.
In the last 24 hours, Canadians have had the worst take on these turn of events. I've just noticed anecdotally. But look, what you said makes perfect sense if it were an Italian village during the Renaissance of 600 people population, but it doesn't make sense.
But we have the information sphere. We have the media now, right? So
Matthew, here's kind of the problem with the ideology because we are kind of dragging.
I'm all ignorant.
It only works in times of the past. That's the only time that works because there was really any moral system. We don't exist then. Okay? Like your argument is basically, I'm not going to be moral because I want to be moral. I'm going to be moral because I fear irrational humans. We don't exist in those times anymore. People are still irrational, yes, but we exist in a time where you don't have to accept it. I do not have to accept the irrational behavior of the so-called community that I come from. Neither do you, neither do the Indians, neither do the Malaysians. No one has to accept that. We have moved past those times. And whether you agree with it or not, it doesn't matter that humans are still irrational. I have the choice to not be around people like that. That is the difference. If people are irrational, you can make sure they're not around you. Before that didn't exist. Now it does. So your argument falls apart because those times we lived in during our ancestors, those times are gone. If you want to make a decision based on that, it's on you, not anyone else.
Are you sure about that? The times are gone. Well,
the times are gone. The people are not sure what's going on.
So I just think that one of the things that I try to do is not assign special otherness to myself in response or reactions to other people's generalizations or what have you. Like, just keep the focus on yourself. You know, if you are a person who wants to be, I'll say walk in the light, quote unquote, if you want to respect people as for who they are and not think that they're somehow a world different from you because they are not classified racially in the same way as you, which again, these racial classifications, they change depending on where you are in the world. So I think that, just try to be, focus on you, and because definitely whenever these issues come up, I remind myself that none of us is special. And everything that you're accusing me of, because there are consequences, right, Isaac? There are consequences, and people still feel those consequences. I think that it's not by happenstance that these groups are taking situations like this this as a signal to like resume the position that they had. It's like somebody pushed the pause button in 1965, and these people, these different groups have somehow said, okay, let's play. Let's push play now. We're going to resume exactly where we stopped off. Let's go to a black neighborhood and march. Or let's go to, calling a bomb threat to a HBCU or whatever the case may be. Like, it's just kind of what it is. But we can't, I don't look at myself and say, I deserve that because there's crime in the world. I don't say that I deserve for my city to be invaded because there's crime in the world, as if there's not crime every place else. Like, I just feel like people got to stop assigning this specialness and remember that you are the fucking same. Like, all of these issues you experience, and stop wanting to assign it to a person's skin, because we can have allyship regardless of what we're classified as racially. We can still live in the same communities. Oftentimes we do, and we get on the internet behind this anonymity and talk all kind of crazy. But moving around every day with people who look different than us, hopefully, although I know that a lot of people live in very segregated environments. But
so the point I was making wasn't really to speak about Black people. The point I was making was just to further what I was saying, which is I am not going to act based on the irrationality of other people. I've never done that. I have always acted on what I believe was rational. And if I was wrong, I went back to make sure that I recommended that. That's how I've always done things. And it wouldn't matter if I'm Black, Asian, white, Latino. That's who I am as a person. It was just saying to Matthew's point about other people are rational. That is not my problem. That is their problem. I choose to be, or at least to adhere towards what should be general rationality. Whether it's correct or not, whether I perform it well or not, that is my problem. That is my choice. If other people don't want to make that choice, I got nothing to do with that. You're responsible for yourself the moment you become an adult. And I think people are starting to get that. Your actions are your choices, not others.
Yeah, that's the ideal, Isaac, bro, and I don't want to be mistaken for being some kind of crazy leftist. I actually enjoyed this gentleman's talks. I used to watch it quite a bit, and he tore up those crazy purple hair, very, very far left young people. I watch his shows, and I'm very much an independent thinker. Maybe you don't know me too well, yeah, but if you've ever heard me speak, I am a very, very much an independent thinker. I think most people who know me will know that. I agree. That's the ideal. We should all view others as individuals, not belonging to a group. I think the only reason I made that statement is because I don't think we're there yet. I think we're constantly fighting against the media and sensationalism grouping us up as members of groups. I think the media generalizes things. It hypes things up. It gets people thinking very irrationally, more with emotion. I think we still tend to generalize, and in this particular world, I do think the sort of disavowing idiots within our quote unquote perceived in group, I think it's a good tactic to sort of clear the air in a way.
I really have no idea what to do.
But that's just my opinion,
It just melted again.
I'm curious what people think too about just the overall impact of seeing what we saw yesterday on video.
As far as what serendipity?
As the up close and personal view of him being shot and bleeding out. Like, I don't know. I just think that's something that most Americans generally don't witness. and would ordinarily never witness. And that's got to have a profound impact on people.
I
hope it does.
I said it earlier, but for the people that are just coming in, to me, I saw the best representation of the person that may get shot before yesterday.
Exactly.
Well, I think she's.
I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. That's a problem.
Okay.
Yep.
I think she's asking.
As people are getting shot every goddamn day in this country.
Okay.
That's the problem.
Yeah, but I think, if I gather correctly, she's asking specifically about seeing that display of gore in that spectacular fashion. So I saw a lot of commentary, and it resonated with me, saying that why, when there have been other instances like this, is it always blurred or blocked or obscured on television and social media? And for some reason, this was out there in spectacular display. No doubt, children seeing, a man get assassinated as if he were a video game character or something horrific like that. It's, it affected me profoundly, full-grown man. And I don't know, there was something very odd about that. It may have been something as simple as the media was in such a frenzy to be the first to report on this. It didn't go through its normal sort of channels of editing or whatever. They were just all so desperate to be the first one to get the details on the story. But it was horrifying.
But that's why I ask people, do they have children in this conversation? Because the fact of the matter is the children have seen it. Like these, the children are having mass shooter drills in their school. Just a couple of weeks ago in Seattle, a man drew a handgun, and shot a guy in a wheelchair over an accused stolen valor, and there were families around, and the kids knew exactly what to fucking do. Like, we're already, and this is every day, again, this is my personal opinion.
Okay, I don't think we're disagreeing. We're not disagreeing on that, but this is, if I take your point, it's a significant escalation to the idea that you just presented.
Yeah, it's a different point. I mean, I think a lot of us have lived in a state of uncomfortableness, like every time there's a school shooting, every time there's any of these particularly tragic acts of violence. Like, that's something that resonates with all of us. But to actually see someone be assassinated and to see the actual violence and the gore and the gruesomeness of that up close and personal, that is just not something, the feelings, the concern, the worry, the heightened awareness for each other, that's something that we've tended to just grow accustomed to. But actually seeing that man be shot and bleed out in front of all of us, that is not something that I ever expected or imagined that I would
built wrong. I had to fix it. It was sagging so 2 inches into the floor. And if you see these doors out here, that's why it can't be that way. So I then waited for the full 2 weeks, building another fireplace that was totally wrong and out of code. So here I am, destroying it too. That was an incredibly painful mistake, but I read the full building code instead of just skimming it on the second time. The second time was a charm. I had to start down in the basement. I had to cut the floor open, pour a footer, have a foundation all the way up from the bottom to hold this hearth extension. That's the piece that comes out from the fireplace. Luckily, I had a bunch of old blocks laying around in the backyard, so I laid up a foundation and poured about 40 bags of concrete. The next step was building the most complex concrete form I have ever made in my life, which is a low bar. I admit I've made too many concrete forms. But this one had to go inside of the fireplace. It had 3 layers, and then I had to pour the fireplace around it. And then I had to be able to remove it from inside the fireplace when it was done. I got all of the details into the pour except
for the little
a lot of the stuff.
on the bottom. I did those
Yeah, I would
next.
say
It was
is,
time to spend 2 weeks straight laying tile. And the reason it took so long is because I counted 320 miter cuts I had to make, plus the fact that I'm pretty much a noob at laying tile. I helped my old boss lay some big 3-foot by 3-foot one time, but other than that, this is a big experiment. I could have called in somebody else that works here to help me who has more experience, but I wasn't going to do that because this is my own house, so I would rather get it wrong than pay someone else to do it. This subway tile is undulated, which means it's got kind of this wavy texture.
Was it a school shooting or a gang shooting?
It's mitering it even more difficult because of that.
It was a mass shooting at Evergreen High School in Kitover.
Was it gang related?
I don't know if tile guys do this or not.
It was a school shooting.
It was a shooting that happened at a school, but was it a mass shooting of random people? Or was it targeted gang violence?
I mean, it's totally brown. Nothing about
I
it.
heard that only 3 people were injured, so it sounded like it was a gang.
Okay.
You want to watch the full
That's not, I'm not
It's
even
on our
saying
channel
that.
called
I didn't say that makes it okay. I'm just.
It was only 3 people.
I didn't say it was only 3 people. I said 3 people were injured.
I heard it was only 3 people.
3 people. I said I heard only 3 people were injured, not killed. I'm not trying to minimize the fact that 3 people were injured.
You minimize it by saying only. I don't know.
So you guys are okay. This is why Charlie Kirk was shot, for asking the question that I'm asking now. So how many people? This is actually literally the question that Charlie Kirk was answering when he said gang violence. Are we counting or not counting gang violence when it comes to school shootings?
Did it matter to him when he got shot? No.
It did matter to him, and it does matter to me, and I don't know why. Why is it an inappropriate?
A mass shooting?
You mean
I just asked a question, guys.
You mean to tell me that you think a mass... Okay, let me ask you a question.
Ask away.
You mean to tell me that a shooter that was at least 200 yards away from Charlie Kirk chose that specific question to pull the trigger and put a bullet through his neck?
No.
Sorry, no, I'm not buying that. So the fact that that was the question that he was being asked.
Say that.
I'm still talking. I'm still talking.
But I didn't. But you're putting words in my mouth, and you're
I'm going to give you an opportunity to respond. But the question that he was answering at the time that he was shot is not relevant to the fact that he was shot. You're playing this whole.
I didn't say
I just
that
asked a gang question, and now I'm being persecuted, just like Charlie.
You're misrepresenting me in a dishonest and manipulative way. And
You need to be just like
Charlie Kirk.
Represent yourself.
Somebody said there was a school shooting, and I asked if it was a mass shooting or a gang shooting. I understand there was a shooting that happened at a school. I was wondering if it was a mass shooting like Columbine, or if it was a gang shooting like a couple of kids shot guns at each other because they had a gang conflict.
Why does it matter, bro? It's all bad.
I think, of course I would agree with that sweeping statement that it's all bad.
Gang shootings never happen in schools, do they?
Excuse me. Okay, excuse me. I was asked a question. Fine, then I'll just go ahead and mute up then. Go ahead and keep.
Yes.
He's answering his question. I would like to hear his answer.
Oh, that's okay. He asked me. Matthew asked me a question, and then he told me to go ahead and mute up. So I'm gonna listen to the second thing that he said.
Checked. Matthew doesn't have a green bean. Matthew doesn't have a green bean, and I told you, if you want to, you said that I disingenuously.
I think that there is a significant difference between mass shootings where random people are targeted by a crazed loner and gang shootings where people bring guns to school and shoot their gang rivals. A lot of gang shootings are classified, mass shootings and gang shootings are classified together under the category of school shootings. And I think it's ironic that you're trying to say, somebody said, hey, did you know there was also a school shooting the other day? I did know there was a school shooting. I was simply asking, was it a mass shooting or was it a gang shooting?
So Columbine was a gang shooting.
I'm still talking.
Don't mute me like Charlie Kirk.
friend.
So anyway, no, I was simply asking, and I find it ironic that question is so triggering to the people in this room. I wasn't saying anything about Charlie Kirk's death or that he was shot at that particular time. But coincidentally, that was the exact question. I'm assuming that you will.
I'm just letting these people that are coming off mute know I'm going to respond first.
No, I think it's important to differentiate between mass shootings where random people are targeted.
Okay, we got that.
Shootings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we heard that point, and I would just like to say I don't think anybody was triggered by the fact that you asked the question for the distinction. I think people are irritated that you felt like in that reference a distinction needed to be made. That's all.
And I would like to know, do you have any inclination that this particular shooting was a gang shooting, or are you just throwing it out there?
Yes, I do have actually. There are a couple of clues.
Okay.
What are the clues? Yeah, share what's the clue?
Didn't know we had Bruce Wayne here.
Hilarious.
Well, one of them is that it happened at lunchtime in like a corner of the playground. And it wasn't like
that would give away.
Come on now, I don't need to disrupt you.
Sounds like a typical gang violence to me.
Hey, you know what?
Come on, Mike.
Sounds like, based on the responses that I'm getting right now, that everything I'm going to say is going to go right over your guys' heads. So I'm just going to save it and have a nice.
No, go ahead.
You're probably not going to get it anyway. And you're just going to make fun of me while I'm talking. Well, you're making fun of me while I'm talking, so you're not being very, very respectful.
Because we said, what are the clues that it's a gang?
No, not because you don't say. I said you're making fun of me, and you're saying that you're justifying why you're making fun of.
I said, let me finish.
What do you mean, let me finish? You didn't let me finish. You're not letting me finish. What? I have to let you finish interrupting me? I have to let you finish while you're not letting me finish? Get the fuck over yourself. If you're not going to let me finish, I'm not going to let you.
I mean, are you unwell? Are you on the spectrum? Do you need medication? Are you effing kidding me? We asked you to give examples of gang violence, and you said a corner of a playground. As if children, teenagers, all sorts of individuals at high school or grade school or middle school hang out on the playground. That was your first example? Yeah, we're going to make fun of you because you started off sounding stupid as fuck.
I think the fact that it's just like obviously kind of, it's like you it would not like be a crazy thing if they did bring a gun to the corner of the school and didn't display it right in the center before carrying it out to other parts of school. That's like such a retarded point to make. They're already doing sketchy shit from the get-go.
And I guess I just don't understand the distinction of even trying to categorize, make the distinction between a school shooting and or is it gang violence? Because either way, neither are good. Like, what is the point in that? That
it's a
gang violence shouldn't be classified?
Because he thinks these children are criminals or something, and this is guilty or not guilty of some shit, which is the most retardedest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Horatio, did you have something?
Just derailing the conversation he was. I know it's because I do it myself.
Shantae.
Yes. Can you?
Did you have? I saw you come off mute.
Yeah. Can you all hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm in my car, so bear with me. So I wanted to speak to. First, I wanted to just express that Charlie Kirk. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, we can. You cut out for just a second.
Okay. I wanted to express my condolences to Charlie Kirk. I mean, she's obviously not in this space, but I just wanted to express my condolences for that loss. I experienced a tragic loss myself. My brother passed away last year. He was 26. So I know what it's like to lose a young life. Not from the perspective of a wife or a child, but my brother and I were incredibly close. And so she's going to have a long journey ahead of her. I think when it comes to, it was interesting that he mentioned, the gentleman mentioned gang, because I was actually going to bring that up in this conversation. When people say, like, not many of us have seen someone be shot. Actually, there are people people in marginalized communities every day that see people shot and murdered right in front of them, whether it be a friend. Not everybody that sees murder in the quote unquote hood is in a gang. There are kids that are walking home from school that will see people murdered. And I think that I'm really against trivial, polarizing, or making distinctions across what murder is. I actually think it's a shock to people who live in affluent and upper echelon communities. Particularly, I'm not saying this part of Utah is this, because I don't know about Utah, no disrespect to Utah, but it's a shock to them, I think, but this is an everyday occurrence for a lot of people. And we have really normalized this sort of violence in our society. So people say this is not America. I'm like, what part of America are you referencing? Because it seems very much in line. It seems like the underbelly of America to me, if you ask me. And the last point I want to make is that this is really catastrophic in that it was likely the first assassination that maybe millennials and definitely Gen Z have seen on our soil. But this is not new because you had RFK, you had Medgar Evers, you had Malcolm X, you had Martin Luther King Jr., and you had JFK, with the exception of Medgar Evers, that were all televised or photographs taken soon after their assassination. I think it's very jarring for us and our generation in this time because it's so televised. And I truly am just really heartbroken by this whole situation. I thought about it as soon as I woke up this morning. I just really feel horrible that this man lost his wife. I'm sorry, that a wife lost her husband. And I think it's really, I want to make this last note. It's really interesting to me because Charlie Kirk said very disparaging things about MLK. I mean, really disparaging things. And I think it's incumbent upon, not that she has to do this, but I think the one person that's going to give solace and comfort to his wife is MLK. Because she lost a father in the almost identical manner in which Charlie Kirk lost his life. Shot in the neck. My name is Shantae, and I'm done speaking.
Thanks, Shantae. I appreciate that. Scipio or Seneca, do you guys have anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, hello everyone. Can call it Scipio or Scipio. Anyways, it's a nickname after all. So I just want to make some comments about what happened, with Kirk. I'm not from the US, way away from the US, and yet we've all heard about it, and it's so shocking to see that video. Regardless of his opinions, regardless of his, for me, like, I don't know the guy. I watched a couple of videos, of him talking to people, debating people. He had, about very controversial topics, and regardless of if you agree with him or not, the fact that you have an open discussion with people in that open air, an open space, it's so exceptional. And I would call it, maybe, or describe it as a sign of a country where all views can be accepted, and conversion and conversation and debate and peaceful talk are actually the standard and should be the standard. But apparently not, according to a lot of people, and I presume that in every country, the US is not an exception, you'll find people who are against the freedom of speech and basic human rights. Personally, as a foreigner, someone following news from about other countries. Okay, when I watch the news about the US, apparently in the couple 2 years, first an attempted assassination of presidential candidate, then this shooting
it should be really, worry people. It's really disturbing and worrisome. Mainly it should raise the question about firearms policy in the US, because I might be wrong about it, but when I think about what is happening, when I see that there's now a rising crisis of these so-called free-printed firearms, weapons that cannot be traceable, and the increased level of intolerance and violence since the assault on the Congress over 5 years ago, and all these events, I think that there must be something, or something that should be done about this. It's not just, if we can talk here, who killed Kirk? Okay, who was responsible? We can get into a lot of hypotheses. You might blame people who disagree with him. You might go into the insane how can I say this?
Someone that would use this sort of thing. They are very violent people. They always have.
Sorry?
They can't debate. They can't have Canadian.
Well, here's the thing. I don't even think at this point it's the conversation of speculating about who this guy was and why he did what he did. We don't have that information.
I am not speculating, but I'm just saying that we should not go there, but rather, discuss what really matters. We have intolerance, political intolerance. It's everywhere. But should we, in a country, and I'm not here trying to dictate to people what you think. It's your country, but I'm just asking someone expressing your views. Should we be, that flexible with firearms in the country?
Did you miss the comment already stated in this room about the 250,000 crimes that are prevented because of lawfully abiding citizens who carry firearms? This argument could absolutely go that way. We as Americans hear this many times from foreigners about, you Americans love your guns and look, you got the violence you deserve. But the fact of the matter is, we stop a lot of violence with our firearms as well. So there's arguments to be made on both sides.
And it's not the argument, is it? Why are we talking about firearms when we've got a political murder?
Correct.
No, I totally agree with you.
The murder was done by a gun that's naturally
Poison on the poison. Culture is the problem.
So hold on, Scorpio, whatever your name is, what free society do you live in? Where are you from? What's free society? Are you?
I don't know.
What country's free laws do you live under?
I didn't say that I'm coming from.
I can do better than that. Watch as we get people. No, Mr. Canadian, this guy likes to go after our freedoms.
Don't take it personally.
Don't take it personally. I don't take anything personally. I just ask what free society someone who criticizes America.
Abby,
I don't know you. No, I don't know you.
Okay, I know you, Abby. I know you, Abby.
I don't know you. I don't know you. I just asked a question.
We've met in a room talking about cohabitation between Israelis and Gazans. I know your views. So
I don't know you. Sorry.
Yeah, I know you. That's
good. Then you know I'm a real Phillies fan. So could you tell me what
society you live in? Would you stop interrupting? You are as the guy with the name of my friend. You keep interrupting people. So.
Scipio, I'm gonna give you 30 seconds to finish up your argument, and then we'll let Abby respond.
I need more than that. Again, I'm not against firearms in the US. I believe that a lot of people, it's really great to have a firearm in your house, defend your family when you are threatened. You should not wait for the police to come to your place, because by that time it might be really late. I really do, agree with that. But the policy should be definitely revised, cannot let firearms in the hands of everyone. That's my point. So it's not just against totally, no, but revise the policy. That's my point.
Scipio, that sounds like a great policy for your country.
Thank you, Double. So my point I was making in the chat is in Japan, where you cannot freely just go get a gun, Prime Minister Abe was assassinated by a 3D handmade gun. So if someone wants to assassinate, they're going to make a gun, they're going to get a gun, and changing the gun laws so that people who rightfully want to protect their homes or have shooting as a sport and hunt or live in states where there are needs for guns for their particular business, if they work on a range or they're protecting cattle, is just it's an absolute right in our country. But if you want to shoot someone, look at what happened in Japan when they took away all guns. They assassinated the prime minister. They assassinated Shinzo Abe, one of the most revered leaders in Japan.
How many people were shot that year in Japan?
I'm talking about an assassination.
Yeah, I can remind you because I lived part of the time.
Okay, one mic, guys. One mic, we can't hear everybody.
You can make a gun. That's what they did in Japan.
What is? Can I build on what Abby said?
Yes, I'm gonna. No. Matthew, mute up, okay? I one mic. I cannot hear anybody when you're all talking over everybody else. We're gonna go to Double, and then I think I saw Aisha come off mute, and maybe Horatio, and then Matthew.
Okay.
But please don't interrupt. Y'all keep your shares brief enough that you're not spelling out 500 points that nobody is ever going to remember. And don't interrupt each other. Let's hear what everybody has to say. All right. Abby, were you?
Yeah,
you were.
I was just.
Okay.